Dillian the Body Snatcher right here. It's a champ. Big up to Sporting Icon. Subscribe. Otherwise, I might pay you guys a visit.
Right, now I'm seeing up and down the internet today loads and loads of reports saying that Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder both have a rematch clause in the contract. In other words, it doesn't matter who wins, who loses, they're going to rematch anyway. Now, I can understand that Deontay Wilder would have one because he is a champion. Tyson Fury, he's lineal champion for sure, but lineal doesn't really mean too much, especially this version of it, because the lineal's been broken since Lennox Lewis retired. And of course, Vitaly Klitschko, and then like a new lineage started with Vladimir Klitschko. So this lineage thing is complete whack, to be honest with you. You can't trace it right the way back to when. You just can't do it. So I don't understand how a lineal champion would have a rematch clause. Unless you've got a physical belt, because the only belts that really matter right now are WBC, WBO, WBA, and IBF. These are the four. These are the four that you required to have to be undisputed. So whoever's going to own all these belts, you need to own all four of them belts to become undisputed. You don't need lineal. You don't need Ring Magazine. You don't need any of that. You don't need IBO. None of it. So if it is true that Tyson Fury's got a rematch clause, I mean, this is a ridiculous thing for Wilder to agree to. Team Wilder, I mean, so you guys are going to have two fights back to back. If all this is true, of course. So where does that leave undisputed for Joshua? Because all we ever hear for a long, long time is undisputed is all that matters. But yet, these same clowns who've been claiming that, all they want to see is Wilder versus Joshua, and when the fight nearly happens, they're advising Wilder to not sign a damn contract. But yet they want undisputed. And if this is true, I'll be interested to see if any of these clowns are actually going to reprimand Wilder for accepting this. Because this postpones undisputed for another year at least. Now, as I said, none of this is officially confirmed, and they're not likely to confirm it either. We're only going to find out after the fact. Okay, we're only going to find out about this once Wilder and Tyson Fury step foot in the ring, have their fight, and then we'll find out about a rematch, all those kind of clauses after it. Because they'll go down with the whole, well, what's in the contract is confidential and da-da-da-da. But basically stalling out Anthony Joshua is what they're doing. So this is why Eddie Hearn has said, we want a contract in place to fight Deontay Wilder by the time he steps in the ring with Tyson Fury. And the reason being, because we don't want to be going through another couple of months, 2-3 months of contract negotiations, only for ultimately for Wilder to cower out of it again last minute, accept all the terms, get the contract, well, I'm not signing it because no date and venue. Even though he is quite willing to fight Tyson Fury with no date and venue. Remember when he signed 6 weeks ago? And yet he signed again only a few days ago. I don't know how many times people need to sign a damn contract, I really don't. And considering it's 99% done several weeks ago as well. Yet, we haven't even got a press conference yet. We don't even have a venue yet. We have nothing. All we have is a date. So, I don't understand. Why would these guys have a rematch clause? As I said, I understand Wilder having one because he is a champion. If he was to fight Joshua, no, he shouldn't have a rematch clause. Much like Josie Parker didn't have a rematch clause. Because Joshua is the one with the most to lose. As in, he's got 3 of the 4 main belts. Wilder's only got 25% of it. But Tyson Fury with lineal shouldn't have a rematch clause. He really shouldn't. And besides that, what if this fight stinks? What if Wilder goes in there against Fury and sparks Fury out in the very first round? Who's going to want to see a rematch? Nobody is. Because people will say, well, what's the point? He's just going to do it again. And if Tyson Fury knocks out Wilder in the early rounds, people go, well, what's the point? Because clearly Wilder's chinny. Because, I want to be rude, but Tyson Fury, not exactly the biggest puncher in the world. If it turns out to be a bore fest, as in Tyson Fury just does ring a rosy round him and beats him on points. If he was to get a decision, of course, let's not count our chickens before they hatch, because for me, I think that Tyson Fury could probably school Wilder all 12 rounds, and they'll still award it to Wilder. This is the WBC. You know, they installing their own judges. You know, the WBC love Wilder. They've been protecting him for years. So why suddenly now hand it over to Tyson? They're not going to want to do that. And not only that, isn't it a bit of a risk? So you remember when Vladimir Klitschko had a rematch with Tyson Fury? No, you don't, because it didn't take place, okay? Because Tyson Fury, he got the belts from Vladimir Klitschko, even though it was a mandatory situation and no rematch clause should have even been there. But you know what? Both teams mutually agreed to it. So they had a rematch. Tyson Fury gets all the belts. They set up the rematch. Tyson Fury says, you know what? I ain't doing this. And subsequently, retires, gets stripped of the IBF, all that kind of thing. So Vladimir Klitschko never actually got his rematch. Same thing could happen to Wilder. It's a bit of a risk for Wilder. So if Tyson Fury has or wins this fight and Tyson Fury thinks, oh, okay, fine, I'll get a rematch. How do you know that Tyson Fury isn't going to retire or have some more depressions? You don't know, do you? You don't know, so it's a risk for Wilder straight away. Well, I say it's a risk. I mean, in some ways, it'll kind of deserve him, right? Because, he's cherry-picked Tyson Fury. He knows Tyson Fury's not ready. He knows it. Hence the reason why Shannon Briggs is wanting Tyson Fury right now. And Tony Bellew's wanting Tyson Fury now. And Sefer Seferi was willing to get in the ring with him. And Pianetta was willing to get in the ring with him. Because nobody feels he's ready. It's only a very small section of people believe that Tyson Fury is ready right now. And these people are the ones who are just hardcore Tyson Fury fans. Well, I say they're hardcore, they're not. Because they've been quiet and dormant for the last couple of years, and now suddenly they've come back out with their hatred. And I'm not talking about all Tyson Fury fans, of course not. I'm a Tyson Fury fan and I'm not an idiot, but there are a lot of idiots. It just seems to be that way. But he's not ready, is the absolute truth of it. But a rematch clause for both of these guys? Come on now. Now, this is probably their idea of a little game. Let's try and wind up Joshua a little bit. Because that's all it is. It's all parlor tricks and, just boxing politics and all kinds of other tricks just to try and goad the other person, which happens to be Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn. This is what people want to do. They don't actually want to fight. None of them do. They don't want to fight Joshua. The fan bases don't want them to fight Joshua because fact is, the whole thing is over. All the beef, all the views, all the subs that these hater channels get, it's just going to die. Because they don't talk about anything else. They can't talk about Wilder without talking about Joshua. And for a long, long time, they've been insulting Tyson Fury, calling him fat, out of shape. He's never going to be the same man. He's going to be a shell of his former self. And now suddenly he's going to fight Wilder. He's the best damn heavyweight on the planet. He's the number one in the world because he's lineal. Suddenly lineal now means something. Right? But yet, what happened if Sefer Seferi or Pianetta beat Tyson Fury? Would they be lineal champion? Would they be number one in the world? No, of course not. Wilder fans are, not all Wilder fans of course, a section of Wilder fans are only keen on this fight and bigging it up because they know Wilder's going to beat him. They know it. They've never been more confident in all their life. Had Wilder had actually found the ink in his pen and signed to the terms that he agreed to fight Joshua, they would be bricking it right now. They would be as quiet as a dormouse. Because they know all the hate, all the garbage that these people have been talking is all going to come back to bite them in the arse like karma. Isn't that amazing, the narratives? So are these people actually going to say Wilder and Tyson Fury, if they do have a rematch, so they're going to rematch no matter who wins, loses or draws, then this is holding up undisputed and this is a wrong thing to do? I mean, I wouldn't mind so much if there's something in the contract where if they do have a rematch clause where the rematch can be broken or postponed in the event of agreeing and undisputed with Joshua. And then the loser takes on Joshua after. They could do something, but they probably haven't thought about that. So if they have, they're just stalling time, which is terrible. As I said, there's nothing to really back up any of these claims right now, but there seems to be a lot of people saying it. And you know what? There's no smoke without fire. There really isn't. So maybe there is some truth to it. As I said, I can understand Deontay Wilder having a rematch because he's the one risking something. Tyson Fury isn't risking anything, really, because he knows that people know he's not ready. He's expected to lose. So if he pulls out a victory or a draw, then it's an achievement. Whereas if he loses, he's expected to lose. So anyway, you drop your thoughts below. What have you heard about this? Should Tyson Fury have a rematch? How much emphasis do you put on lineal? Now, if you're a real hardcore Tyson Fury fan, you probably put a lot of emphasis on lineal, right? But the reality is, this is no longer the 80s and 90s where lineal actually meant something. Lineal hasn't meant anything since Lennox Lewis retired. It really hasn't. So, yeah, anyway, you drop your thoughts below about it all, click that thumbs up and subscribe. Catch you all on the next video.